Good morning, everyone. Good evening and good afternoon, depending on those time zones. My name is Eggsbenny, and today is 20 Sides of Failure playing Curse of Strahd. Episode 51. We've gotten quite far through this story. The ending is in sight. How long will it take to get there? Well, that is completely up to my group of beautiful players who are with me this evening. Starting with our Furbolg Druid.
Hello, everybody. It is your friendly neighborhood Ness here, and I play the Furbolg Druid Sandra Elwood, who is just very happy to have two new friends in their midst. Very excited to have more people on the team, so maybe, just maybe, they can rip Strahd a new asshole.
Following that, we have our Paladin.
Hello, I'm Norrin Nightingale. I'll be doing Aurora Rose, who is also very happy to have more people in the group, and also very happy that she doesn't know she nearly touched dead things last week.
Someone that was overviewing the touching of the dead things. We have our Sorcerer.
Hi guys, my name is Mythical, and I play Saya Samra, the Shadow Sorcerer, and she's not excited and happy for new people in the party. She is very much the opposite. There are too many new people here. She doesn't like interaction. Remember, we're still taking baby steps on improvement from where we were at day one till now. Although, there is someone in the party, actually two people in the party she's become a little bit attached to. Leave it to you guys to figure out who it is.
Well, someone that might have a little bit of a clue of who she's become attached to is our Artificer.
Hey, I'm Dusky Pete. I am playing Jack with his left hand Mechanical Man King. My assumption is that Say is getting rather fondly attached to Azazel, despite Azazel no longer being here.
I hate you.
So astute. So brilliant. And later on, we will hopefully be joined by Serenity, our human rogue. But for now, that is very much up in the air. So,
what am I, chopped liver?
I mean, the amount of times that you go unconscious at this point, you could be a fillet of meat.
I mean, I have had my ribs caved in, so yeah, I have literally been broken apart.
Leave my child alone!
This is whenever the DM pulls a huge, false hydra, and it's like, what do you mean? Your character doesn't exist. You've never introduced yourself yet.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, the new character joining this session, right?
Let me just have my my filing cabinet of just backup characters for this campaign.
But we also
I've never seen someone die so much like you have, to be honest.
Yeah, I am very good at dying.
But we do have our Barbarian Cleric.
Hi everyone, I'm English Ray, I'm chopped liver. Let's play!
So, to recap where we left off from last week, the party have returned to Kresk with the idea of escorting Anna back to her husband and to her village, but now with a wedding dress in tow. The party decided that they were going to head up to the Abbey to deliver the dress themselves, wanting to see what was happening up there, but also pay an almost personalised visit to the abbot. While there, they are introduced to the Bellevues, a family of mongrel folk who, through the wishes of some ancestor, are now stitched together pieces of human and animal, going mad in the process. They hand over the wedding dress to the abbot and meet Vasilka, who is apparently the very lucky bride that is attached to the dress request. Because the abbot was grateful for you doing this favour for them, they said that the door to the abbey was always welcome to you, and you were welcome to stay for as long as you like. Serenity, with their passive perception, was able to see that there was someone looking over the courtyard at the party. And it's there that they follow the trail and end up bumping into someone who introduces themselves as Ezmerelda. Ezmerelda is understandably curious about the people coming to meet with the abbot, and drops a couple of bits of lore that the party weren't originally aware of, such as the fact that the abbot is insane, and that the girl that's going into the wedding dress is actually a well-crafted flesh golem. Using Jack as a little bit of a smokescreen, Serenity manages to pass on the information that the party need to leave as soon as possible, and they do, with Ezmerelda in tow. After asking a few questions to get to know her, Ezmerelda does pass on the information that if they're wanting somewhere to sleep for the night, they are more than welcome to go stay at an abandoned wizard's tower that she had been using as a sort of base of operations before coming to the abbey. Looking at the time and seeing how late it was getting, the party agreed that heading to this place was probably the best idea, especially since Ezmerelda said there was the potential of it being able to shield the party from the bad dreams that had been happening to them. We ended last session with you travelling to the tower, and that is where we're going to pick up today. You walk over the crossroad that you know leads down to both Yester Hill and the Martikov's winery. Following the pathway that would lead you back to Vallaki, you actually end up taking a side road. At this point, the forest has completely swallowed it whole, and it's now just a dirt track leading to the north. Having to push aside underbrush and undergrowth, you make your way up this dirt track until it eventually opens up into a small clearing. What you can see in front of you is essentially a small man-made lake that has been built more like a moat. On your side, you can see that you're coming up to a wooden bridge that does have a mechanism to lift it should the need come. But for now it is down. And you see in the middle of this moat a small man-made island with a tower that is just under 100 feet tall. It is definitely old, crumbling. You can see there are small holes in the roof, but other than that, it seems serviceable. As you begin to get closer, Ezmerelda points out a very brightly painted purple and gold caravan, which she identifies as hers. But as you get closer, you see that by the side of the caravan, slightly tucked behind it to keep it hidden from the road, is another. Also brightly coloured, this one red, with golden lettering across the side. Ezmerelda definitely slows down as she takes in this wagon and very quietly mutters, just loud enough for all of you to hear. That is no, and that is not mine.
It might be, Rictavio. I think that's what his name was.
It is a possibility. No, that also being said, we know Strahd out somewhere.
Don't remind me.
Careful, cautious, and not to be hasty.
Do any of you go up to the second wagon?
Jack is just gonna try sneaking his way on up.
Mm-hmm.
Aurora will follow.
Same, just in case.
Yep.
I mean,
Saya's gonna stay outside.
I mean, you're all outside at the moment.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
None of you have gone anywhere, but in the sense of all of you have crossed this bridge, so you're now on the island in the middle of the lake. It's just whether you're going up to the second wagon or not.
Oh, then yes.
Okay, from the sense of it, you all are. As you begin to make your way you get a closer look at this wagon. The horse is actually still attached. It's this pale, almost a buttermilk colour, with a blonde mane. The wagon suddenly lurches, as though something big has thrown itself against the inside wall. You hear the cracking of wood, and the scraping of metal, and the snarling of something inhuman.
Oh, not Rictavio at all, okay.
Upon closer inspection, you see that the sides of the wagon are splattered with dry blood. There's also an inscription on the wagon's door frame that reads, "I bring you from shadow into light." But you can see, all of you, that this is Rictavio's wagon, as
Oh no.
it is brightly coloured, but the paint is peeling off. And the words Rictavio's Carnival of Wonders is painted across the side. A heavy padlock secures the back door.
This is gonna be good. Rictavio, are you in there?
You don't get a response.
Do you want me to check the tower?
Right now. There's something in here, and I'm afraid Rictavio was in there.
I really, really hope nothing bad happened to him.
gonna pull out his own set of thieves' tools to try to pick the lock.
Okay. I'm gonna need you to make a check with your thieves' tools.
Oh, I hope you fail so that Saya can try.
I hope he passes so they don't break.
Yeah, literally.
Dexterity? Or what's the query?
The query will be dexterity. Because it's you trying to pick a lock.
I'm not sure if we'll already have that, so we'll just throw that in there. That's
Okay.
fantastic.
You go to pick the lock, Jack, and you get the impression that if this were a cheaper lock, you would have been able to pop this open. But this is heavy duty, thick metal, and expensive. So while your tools don't show any sign of breaking, you definitely underestimated the power of this lock.
Wait, you cut out the last part. It's the what? It's spelled?
I mean,
It's too high quality, I believe.
Your tools don't break, but you've underestimated the power of the lock.
This is. Go for it.
Amira's just gonna put her hand on your shoulder. It's gonna cast Enhance Ability. And it's gonna be on. Did you say it was Wisdom, DM?
Dexterity.
Yeah.
Dexterity.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and so we'll use. Which one is Dex? I think it's Cat's Grace. Yeah, we'll do Cat's Grace so that you can have advantage and try again. So, hand on the shoulder, cast the spell. Try again.
Off. Jack will drop picking the lock again. Didn't have enough first attempt at it. I'm also going to use a flash of genius on this.
This is a very, very bad idea.
Oh. Yes, it is.
Massively.
With a 32,
Damn.
Ayo.
Jack, you pop the lock. And as soon as you hear that, all of you hear it, there is a click as... I don't actually know how you... what... I don't know as a DM what the correct name for the bit the padlock is, but essentially the bit that goes into the lock. Like the locking mechanism.
The latch.
Yeah, sure. As soon as the latch pops out of the main casing, something comes barreling through that door and begins to attack Ezmerelda.
Oh!
Hello?
No! Down boy, off?
So,
It
we're going to enter initiative.
It just barreled straight
Yeah.
through us and just went straight to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't even register us.
Nope.
Okay.
So, I'm going to start adding initiatives to this combat. I'm going to need you to roll.
Okay.
Map-wise, it is going to be Theatre of the Mind, but it should be easy enough for us to position ourselves. So, if we say that the cabin is where the moon is on our background image, Jack will therefore be here, opening the door. Let me just turn on. Yeah, it's still free movement. She should be able to go. So, position yourself where you would be before combat started. Admittedly, Ezmerelda would probably be at the back. She does not want to be anywhere near this.
I can't move.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I can't move my token either.
You should be able
Yes,
to.
I'd like
because
to
we're
move, but I
on-
cannot.
We're on free movement, so you should be able to move.
Because it's not their turn.
Oh, it's because combat has technically started. Right, okay. Pick on the map where you would like to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then alley where you want to be.
It won't let me do it. So next to Serenity.
I can see where your cursor went, so that's fine. And then I need to Okay, so what you all see, because this is all happening simultaneously, and it's something that you weren't expecting at all. This heavily muscled cat-like creature comes bounding out of the back. I'd like all of you to make an animal handling check for me, please.
Oh,
That was so close to a 20.
I was close to an 18. Oh, it's a big cat.
It's a saber tooth.
Giant feline, covered in barding. So it is wearing custom-built armor. And it pushes past you, Jack, past you, Aurora, and is now attacking
Do you
Ezmerelda.
recognize it at all? Like,
Oh.
No.
There was a lot of breakup there.
All I said was that it pushes past Aurora and attacks Ezmerelda.
oh boy.
It's one of those days, is it? Okay.
It pushes past Aurora. It's wearing what?
Barding.
Oh,
Armor.
barding.
Is that just like armor?
Yeah, it's fancy tack, basically. Like when you see a horse all decked out with, like, fancy trim and everything.
I know what you mean now. I know what you mean. Black Desert
Oh.
knowledge. Thank you.
So it's been made to look pretty. Okay.
No. When I say barding, I mean D&D style barding. It's wearing armor.
Oh, I was right. Okay.
And
Do
it's
we recognize the armor at all?
No. But what you do see from your animal handling checks, Jack and Sonder, this cat is acting on built-in training. It purposefully ignored all of you and went straight for Ezmerelda. So we go for... Now, we're in initiative. So Serenity is going to go first. I'm going to turn on
Alrighty.
combat movement. It's going to target the cat. And is just going to stab. That, however, is not going to hit. And that's not going to hit either. So Serenity makes 2 stabs with the daggers. The second one almost piercing, but it doesn't go through the barding. Actually, just realised, never rolled initiative for the tiger. So it goes there anyway, that's fine. Okay, so it's now Ezmerelda's turn. And she, out loud, you can just hear her start to repeat, shit, 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 shit. As she doesn't really want to fight the cat. But at the same time, yeah. Okay. Let me give it another roll. You get to see a little bit of Ezmerelda's martial combat in action as she makes 2 swipes with the rapier, the second one missing. Third attack for the bonus action, she uses the hand axe at her side and digs it into the flesh of this tiger. Done a decent bit of damage to it. Okay, that is everything that she is able to do. Sonda.
Yeah. Seeing that it completely missed us and that Ezmerelda is begrudgingly fighting it, Sandra's gonna try to cast Dominate Beast.
Okay. It failed, so you have charmed it successfully.
Okay, cool. What is it, like, thinking right now?
Okay, that's actually really a good question. I need to read what you get. You can use the telepathic link to issue commands. To take control, take total and precise control until the end of your turn. Where does it say that you can read its thoughts? Sorry, I'm really quickly skimming the thing.
While the beast is charmed, you have a telepathic link with it as long as the two of you are connected on the same existence.
Yes, but it's you can use this telepathic link
Yeah, okay.
to issue commands to the creature. So you can't read its mind, but you can tell it what to do.
Okay, cool. So then for, I guess, Sandra's action, it's, his command is to stop attacking Ezmerelda and sit by the door of the carriage.
Okay. And it does what you tell it to do. It goes back to the wagon. And sits. Jack and Aurora, this creature is huge. Like, it's sitting in front of you, it's still as tall as you are.
Free speech, Saunders gonna say, I can only hold this for a little bit. So either we figure out why it's only attacking Ezmerelda, or we get her out of here.
Can we put it back in the wagon?
That's a great question. You didn't break the lock, so technically we can lock it back in there.
Where did you put where is he sitting?
In front of the wagon, like in front of the doors.
We need to talk to him. We need to find out where Octavio went. Ezmerelda, I'd say get into the tower. King will join you. King will protect you. Something's not right in there, yeah. We'll be right in.
She nods as a response. You are technically still in turn order, but I will take away some of the strictness of it. So we'll say that for her turn, Ezmerelda is going to move past you all and using her movement to head towards the front of the tower, so it'd probably be about that. Is anyone else doing anything before Sonder puts the cat back in the wagon?
King is going to follow Ezmerelda. Under the orders to just protect Ezmerelda.
Okay, and yeah, King would fall behind. Easy enough done.
Aurora, can't you speak with animals?
Yeah, I can recast the spell.
That'd be appreciated.
Yeah, see?
Yep.
See if it knows where Octavio is.
See if we can calm this thing down.
Yep. She will go ahead and cast that.
Okay. Okay. In fairness, yeah, I'm gonna end the official turn order. Because now it's more you going into conversation. So, Aurora, what do you say to the tiger?
She'd start with the holding her hands up in like the placating, like calming gesture, like easy, easy. We don't want to hurt you. Why don't you like her?
You see that there's a moment of like waiting, and Sonder, you get the impression that it's waiting for you to give it permission to speak, because all you've told it to do is sit in front of the door.
He'll move forward kind of next to it, and just like very gently like reach out so it can sniff his hand. And like once it has his scent, he'll kind of like pet the top of its head and just, go on, you can speak.
She is Vistani. I have been trained to kill Vistani.
By Ritavia.
By my master.
Mm. She's with us, though. She's a friend. And where is your master?
The cat just looks to you with dead, emotionless eyes, Aurora. Goes, Vistani are not friends. Vistani are to be killed. And then when you ask, where is your master? The tiger looks to the top of the tower. As this is happening, you're all close enough that you'd be able to hear Ezmerelda calling, you're assuming, up. I can see you coming down the tower. I can promise you that we mean no harm. We are simply looking for a safe refuge.
I look to Jack, and I immediately take off running after Ezmerelda.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at the cat, or I just... We have no quarrel with you. Is there any chance that you would be willing to go back in there? Motioning at the wagon, and kind of forget this ever happened?
You can see the cat actually give that some thought. Yes. Do you have any food? I am hungry.
Oh,
Don't worry, I just tried to kill our friend.
I believe I have some. You check inventory. Should have rations.
did we stop by the inn? I forget.
Yeah, we sold it all.
Ah, damn it.
Sonder, do you have any food? Our friend is hungry.
Oh, I have a couple of rations. I have dried meat.
Oh, there's my rations. Yeah, yeah, we have food. She'll retrieve a ration. I was looking in the wrong spot and I found my rations. She'll give her like 2 rations because big kitty.
Mm-hmm. I've just done a little bit of rereading. Jack. Going to need you. Yeah, I'm going to need you to take some damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Easy enough.
Is it because of the door?
Mm-hmm. Okay. you're not poisoned, but you do take 15 points of damage total, because as you picked the lock, a 3-inch needle shot out of the keyhole and stabbed you in the hand.
I like this lock.
So you take 1 point of piercing damage and then 14 points of poison damage. So you throw the food into the cabin. The cat is essentially looking at you, Sonder.
Yeah, definitely. Giving it just another pat on the head. And just, please sit in the wagon.
Goes in. Sees the food. Starts to eat it.
Yeah, close the door again and relock it.
Again, as you reinsert the latch, Jack, the needle goes back into the keyhole.
That is one interesting lock.
As soon as it's all situated, Sonder will drop the spell.
And immediately you see that same rocking motion and you hear the tiger roar.
Sonder just has a very sad smile on his face.
Let's catch up with everyone else. Make sure they're all right with whomever they're dealing with.
Is Jack, actually poisoned? Or is it just the poison damage?
He's just taking poison. Because he rolled high enough on the con save, he's just taking poison damage.
Got you. Okay.
Aurora would relay to the party what Kitty told her.
I thought you were doing that anyway, which is why I ran after Ezmerelda.
Fair enough.
Yes, so while that was happening, and food is being given, and immediately, Amira, you feel like as you step within the threshold of the tower, your connection to divinity is cut off.
Oh, that's not fun. So I can't cast any spells?
Nope.
Okay.
And you're met with, admittedly, an interesting sight.
Okay.
You are at the moment at the base of the tower. You are at the ground floor. And in front of you are 4 mechanical golems cranking away at 4 different crankshafts. Those cranks are attached to chains that lead all the way up to the ceiling, past the point of what you're assuming is the final floor. And you can see a platform being lowered, and you're assuming that it's the cranking that the golems are doing that's bringing the platform down. you hear a voice from above. Well, my dear, it has been many years since we have bumped into each other. And look, it had to be here. Of course it had to be here. Now the question is, are you going to leave quietly? Or are we going to have words?
Is that being called out to me?
You're assuming
Or
that
do-
that's being called out to Ezmerelda since she was there first and saying, we don't mean any harm. And admittedly, Amira, as soon as the voice starts talking, you see Amira kind of shift on her feet.
I see Ezmerelda. Okay, alright.
Yeah. Like she doesn't look
The
comfortable.
names are similar. I go to where Ezmerelda and King are.
Easy enough then. You watch as slowly this platform is lowered until it's at an angle where you can see the person descending. Older gentleman, balding, grey hair slicked back into 2 points. Very, like, the best way I could describe it is like Count Olaf.
Okay, Count Olaf.
Tiny, round coloured glasses. Like the glass is blue.
Okay.
They're wearing a coat very similar to Ezmerelda's, but it's like a light tan leather rather than the bright red. As they get lower, you can see that they're carrying a cane, like they have a walking stick in front of them. And strapped to them are different, what looks like a blueprint case or a map case. Essentially a tube of protective leather that they've strapped across their chest. Multiple.
Just one or multiple?
Multiple. Also different pouches and belts and utility bits. Like, they are absolutely covered in places to put things. And when the lift finally settles on the ground floor, I'll say that's when everyone else begins to, like, come around the corner and see the same thing. You all see this older human man. He reaches up and begins to play with, like, the conquistador style goatee that he has. And he's just observing you all. Isn't necessarily doing anything. He seems to be waiting for Ezmerelda to speak. She kind of gives this overdramatic curtsy. Oh, my apologies. How was I to know that the great Van Richten was going to be here, hiding away from the thing he's meant to be killing? When she gets back up, she's like got a raised eyebrow and a bit of a smug smirk, like, oh, I am so sorry. Sarcasm dripping like venom from her voice.
Hiding away from the things he's supposed to what?
Be killing.
Wonderful.
You can't see his eyes because of how dark the tint of the glasses are. But you do see him quirk an eyebrow. He takes a step off the lift. I noticed, my dear, your wagon when I first arrived. I figured it was you reading my notes. He gives a kind of like an accusatory like glance, and at that point he tilts the lenses down, so now you can see very dark brown eyes, like dark to the point of it like almost blends in with the pupil, and he's just staring at her like above the lenses. Because he's not necessarily a tall man, probably about average height, but he has this unassuming presence and gravitas where he doesn't look threatening at all. I would say that, say, even in your head, you'd be there like, I could take him. But there is something just emanating off of him that doesn't make you want to try.
Excuse me, sir. I hate to speak up between two people who have already known each other, but don't want to be stepping on any toes or anything like that. But we do just seek to be able to sleep here for the night. One of our comrades is I want to say cursed by a hag. Just needs a place safe to sleep. Bit on a side note though, I'm also an artist myself, and he's gonna motion towards King because he does see the other automatons in the room. I would love to discuss some more if possible trade ideas or have it open up King as a kind of a peace between us. We do mean you no harm.
Jack, roll a persuasion check for me, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn another flash of genius on this one. Persuasion.
Yes!
Okay. You walk forward, Jack, and immediately his demeanor changes. He takes you in and is almost examining you. You watch as he pushes the lens of the glass like back up his nose, so they're now resting at the bridge again. He takes you all in. The only reason I'm going to let you through that door is because I can tell that you're being truthful. Oh, please, come on in before someone sees you standing in the doorway.
Thank you very much.
And because I am
Go right on in.
morbidly intrigued, are you all going in?
Yeah, Sandra will be like right beside Jack, on his left side.
I assume I'm already in there with
Mm-hmm.
Ezmerelda and King.
Saya's gonna test out the theory that she can put her hand through the wall.
And you can.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, just gonna take Jack's advice and go in. Knowing that she can escape through the wall if she needs to.
You do see the gentleman watch you do that, Saya.
Oh god.
And he doesn't make a comment on it, but you can almost see just from his posture that like the brain, like his cogs are turning, and he's logged that for later.
Okay. We'll be prepared for that for later.
With that, the door is shut behind you, and you now realise how naturally dark it is in this chamber. The only windows to the outside world are actually more like arrow slits in like a castle wall. So they're just wide enough for you to be able to fit like the size of a bow through. Tapping the top of his cane, the man that Ezmerelda introduced as Van Richten makes a bright light. Actually, no. He can't do that. I was about to make him do something cool, and he can't do that. So retcon. He doesn't do that at all.
I love
yeah.
the idea. He tries to do that and it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Do they all, like, anyone that's magical, they feel like they can't do it, right?
Yeah, anyone with any kind of magical ability, you have lost contact to that magic. You can't do it. But Jack, that also counts. Go on.
Does that include features such as like channel divinity?
Yes, because that comes from divine magic.
Okay.
Jack, your invocations, that also counts.
I assumed as much.
Is King still
Saya?
okay?
That
Go ahead,
is
you can answer that one.
That is a great question. Yeah, no. As soon as King stepped into the threshold, he collapsed. Because he is a magical construct.
God damn it. We gotta haul him out of here.
Saya's gonna put, like, her hands on her arms and just, like, kind of hug herself and go, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Sandra will kind of like gesture like gently for her to like come to his side, and he'll just wrap a supportive arm around her, just kind of like pulling his cloak that he has on over her shoulders with his arm, just trying to comfort her a little bit because he feels it too.
Yeah, she'll definitely do that.
Amira would help Jack pick up King. If Jack's picking up King.
Jack was not picking up King. King collapsed and Jack is just trying to hold back, just like the feeling of just embarrassment.
Like, Amira's just gonna look at Jack and King and be like, "You want me to pick him up?"
No, just leave it there. You know, we'll figure it out later.
Down goes Jack. I mean, King. Sorry.
I need to check something very quickly. Because I need to actually check that because I don't believe... Okay. I've reread the spell again. We're fine. So, I will say that everyone sees Van Richten tap the top of his cane and expect something to happen. And then when it doesn't, you do see him, like, deflate a little bit. It's like he is also unable to cast magic, and he was fully expecting something to happen there, and it didn't. Well, while you're here in my home, or at least my temporary home, you might as well make yourselves comfortable. And he gestures to the bottom floor of this tower.
Saunder's gonna kind of lean over towards Jack and just whisper in his ear, "Ask about Rictavio. Why does he have his carriage and where is he?"
Don't mind, sir. I do have a quick query. The other cart that's on the outside belonged to a friend of ours. Is he staying in your company as well? Do you know what might have happened to him?
Oh, yeah. Rictavio told me that he had made friends with some adventurers when he was chased out of town, when I believe it was the Watcher boys broke into his cabin and set a tiger loose on the people. He asked me to look after the tiger, who, if I remember correctly, is called Mishka. To answer your question of where Rictavio is, I do not know. He said that he was going to be making arrangements to set up elsewhere. Haven't seen him in a while.
I appreciate that.
But, until he returns, it is my job to try to feed his beast, whilst also trying to stay hidden.
There were, like, windows in the caravan, or is it all just wood?
It's the kind of caravan where it's all self-enclosed, but there were window hatches. So you're assuming that there is a way to open the hatch from the inside, and it's been secured so that Mishka doesn't just jump through.
Okay. I was trying to see if there was, like, any sort of way we could get food inside, like a slat or anything, because she did say she was hungry.
I mean, admittedly, you didn't give the caravan a very good look over. There's the potential that you could do something from the driver's side. There could be something attached to the roof. You don't know.
Understood.
But because you got like a 25 on that animal handling check, I will say that something that triggered Mishka's training was something to do with hearing the unclicking of that lock.
Got you. Okay.
So there must have been another way to feed her, because otherwise she would be in combat mode 24/7.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, so she's literally just only let out to kill Visani. Great. Okay, cool. Lovely. That's totally how you treat an animal. 100%. Victorio and I are gonna have words.
Amira whispers very quietly, so Jack and Sonda can hear. Didn't Mishka turn their head up to the tower and say that's where her master was? But Rictabio isn't here. So why would she look up to the tower if her master isn't here?
Could have been the last place that Mishka's seen Rictavio go.
Or she can figure out that she's been put in somebody else's care for now. And so this is her new carer, her new master, currently. We can always ask.
No, it's fine. It was just something that kind of add up. But yeah, he could have just transferred ownership over to Rickton.
I'm just glad Rictavio is okay as far as we know. I was really worried when we saw that caravan.
Speak up a bit. So, I guess I should introduce myself. I am Jack. That hunk of metal on the ground now, that was King. Very interesting place you have here. I see you also have, constructs for yourself. Do you make them?
Oh no, these fine gentlemen were already here when I moved in. I believe they were made by the castle's original master. I say castle. It is just a tower. The tower's original master.
Fair enough. Don't want to be overstepping or anything like that. But I did hear a bit of the conversation. Sounded like you had a job in the area or something like that. If it's not something you want to be talking about, I just don't want to be standing around just everyone not having a conversation. Unless people would prefer silence.
I think it's at that point you get the impression, Jack, that he wasn't going to answer that question. But Ezmerelda speaks up. Of course. There will be areas of the multiverse that your name is not known. This right here is the famous Rudolf van Richten, monster hunter, vampire slayer. A master of slaying the things that go bump in the night.
Then Saya's gonna look at Ezmerelda and just say, "Is that what you meant before? That he hasn't slayed Strahd? He's not doing his job?"
I'm assuming that's why you're here. And she gives him like a really pointed look to be like, oh yeah, I'm calling you out on your bullshit, you better say something. He looks very
Do I know
uncomfortable.
who this guy is?
You have never heard that name before.
Okay.
Have
Well,
any of us heard that name before?
No.
Sad.
well, if this is truthful and you're actually here to kill Strahd, or at least attempt to, then I guess all of our compasses align. We don't need to be hostile towards each other. We could work together and achieve a common goal.
He quirks an eyebrow at that, and there's a little bit of a, like, is that kind of chuckle where you can see the shoulders moving, so he is laughing, but it is so low and gravelly on like the throat register that you can barely hear it. You do not get to be my age, and in the profession that I am, by just believing people at their word. You will forgive me when I say that it's going to take more than a little bit of flowery language for me to believe that we are on the same side. I may not have been here long, but I have learned that Barovia is a place of action.
How do we prove?
You do not have to prove yourself to me. I'm not your father. I have my own mission. I'm assuming you have yours. I would just recommend that your plan isn't run at his face.
So right now, no. Currently, we were ideally trying to fix what's going on with Amira. What's happening with her, or at least bad time with it. That's why we wanted to stay here. But our main objective as of right now is to amass people to the storm Ravenloft.
You can tell Jack that he is listening to you, but as soon as you gestured to Amira being like, oh, we're here to help her, his attention is immediately just now, like, pinpoint on her. Ray.
She doesn't waver.
Go on. She doesn't waver, that's fair.
Like, she doesn't waver. She looks him in the eye. She's grown up here. You don't show weakness. So she probably like squares her shoulders and lifts her chin up.
I don't know if you've ever seen any of the Marvel Daredevil series. Any of them.
I have not.
Fair enough.
None.
So, the reference that I'm alluding to, the main character is blind, but he still has this uncanny way of staring into your soul from behind a set of lenses that you can't see through. And that is what's happening right now. You can't see Van Richten's eyes. You've no idea actually what he's looking at, but he's looking at you in a way that is, it feels like it's piercing into your soul. And again, you see him like kind of reach up, and what hand isn't on the cane is now just like twirling the edge of his beard like around his index finger.
She like quirks the brows of expecting him to say something.
Hmm.
It's a sort of sign of, if you're going to say something, say it.
Yeah. And again, similar to what happened with Saya earlier, you can see him looking at you and the cogs are turning, and there are a lot of, you can almost see the thoughts tumbling around in his brain. Eventually he steps close enough to you, Amira, that he's now in front of you.
She's still not wavering.
It's not a boxer stance, you're not like sizing each other up, but he is within arm's length of you.
Okay.
Looks you again in the eye. How tall are you?
I hope I wrote this. 5'4".
Okay. So, admittedly, he's not that much taller than you. Maybe 4 or 5 inches. But it's enough. As he is looking,
Half a foot. Okay.
yeah, like directionally down at you. And you manage to get, because of the angle, again, a look into his eyes. And there's nothing aggressive, but there's also no happiness there either. You're almost staring into a blank slate. You see him looking over at you, and I'm going to have him make a roll. Okay. You see him make a gesture, and the best way that I can describe it is he reaches over in Jack's direction, and it looks like he almost plucks something or pinches something out of the air and then brings it back to himself, still with that pinched gesture with the hand. And then when he lets it go, like he opens up his hand, opens up his fingers, he looks to you in the mirror and goes, "How long have you been having nightmares?"
Oh, there's a few ways she could play this. Her eyebrow quirks. Again. We're in Barovia. We're living in nightmares.
He purses his lips and he nods, quirks the corner of his mouth into a little bit of a smirk. "Oh yeah, yeah. I have seen that the lives of the peasantry here are not pleasant. But I think we both know that that is not what I am talking about. But I understand. You don't want to divulge your secrets, and that's fine. To answer your question," and he, doesn't move away from you, Amira, but he turns his head and shoulders to look at Jack. "As long as she sleeps here, she will be fine."
appreciate it.
But then that is just one method, and it means you would be coming back here every night, something that I personally don't want to happen.
Do you have any recommendations on other methods? Because as far as we're aware, the hag that has a curse is able to jump planes. Some we ourselves lack the capability of following.
My first answer to you would have been to meet her on the other plane. But if you can't do that, there are certain spells that are higher level of casting, but they can essentially drag a creature to you. You need to find someone with the magical capability of doing that, however. Or you expect that she is here right now, listening to what I am saying. Actually, and you see him just like do this almost like jaunty little quirk of a smile. It does not matter. She's going to run to Strahd and tell him that I'm here. There is no point in me hiding anymore. Interesting. And like, he does a very Captain Holt-like chuckle. Where it's like, it's quite high-pitched and you're not expecting it at all.
Like the marshmallow laugh.
Yeah, the marshmallow laugh. It's the best way of putting it. You don't expect it, and then there it is.
Amira's gonna look to Jack as if kind of to say, should I just tell him or not?
Yeah, give a shrug.
Three nights.
3 nights. And yet you are not halfway to death, which means that you have
It
either...
has been 3 nights, haven't it?
You had 2 nights. The third night you were able to wake up before you had nightmares.
Okay. Well, she'll clarify it and like 2 nights, but the third night I was able to wake up.
That's good. Wunderbar. Alright. Actually, let's make ourselves comfortable. And he starts grabbing crates from different areas of the room and pulling them into this central area until eventually there's like a semicircle of boxes that is just has made like a little bit of a sitting area. Yes. I would offer to bring you upstairs, but 1, the lift is slow, and 2, it'll take 1 person at a time, and that is too long. My name is Rudolph Van Richten. I am also, and you see him unclasp a satchel, and he pulls out a cloth cap. He puts the cloth cap on his head, and suddenly Rictavio is sat in front of you.
What the fuck?
Fucking knew it! That's why Mishka was looking up at the tower and me like my master's inside.
You'll have to forgive the subterfuge, but I was trying to keep myself on a low profile. You have accidentally forced me to show my hand. And he, like, dips the hat to you. And while he dips, he also takes it off, and he is now Van Richten again. Puts the hat away. I am, as Ezmerelda told you, a rather famous vampire hunter and monster slayer. She would know. She was my apprentice for a while.
Saunders' eyes kind of widen, like, you know the you know the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where it's him sitting on the couch and he points?
Mm-hmm.
That's Saunder right now. Just like mentally like, you fucker!
You can see Ezmerelda get like a little bit uncomfortable at him mentioning that. And he just gives her like that same sassy, sarcastic eyebrow back that she gave to him earlier. It's like, what? You're not comfortable with me talking about our history?
So what she says or he says?
What he says. And you have this realization where it's like, actually, Ezmerelda has picked up traits from him, and you can see it almost like when you see a child mimicking a parent.
Saya's just gonna look at Sonder, but she says this aloud and just goes, wait, so creepy guy before is actually person we know?
Sonder kind of just like looks down at her and gives her head like a small pat and just wasn't exactly the nicest delivery, but you've hit the nail on the head.
This raises so many more questions as of right now.
Why do you want Ezmerelda dead?
Oh, I don't. I want Vistani as a whole dead. They are not to be trusted.
Why?
They are horrendous people.
You want to kill them? How so?
Vistani, by nature, are liars and cheats. They will offer you goodness, but it is always with a price and with a catch. They will do whatever they can for their own gain. And if you try to convince me otherwise with your history, I will just rebut with mine.
I'm not rebutting, I just wanted to know why.
And no matter what Ezmerelda will tell you, she is Vistani. And again, she's not denying it, but there is a level of discomfort there. I came to Barovia with the intention of killing Strahd. That was fully my intention. I've been here for months, scouting the terrain, taking in his network of spies, trying to find potential allies to my cause. I've heard of a secret organization that works itself out of Alaki, and I've been trying to track down members, have a discussion with their inner circle, potentially build up more of a support network, rather than just, oh I don't know, running to the Abbey and trying to ambush Strahd while he goes to pick up his new bride. And he gives Ezmerelda like a really pointed look of like, yeah, I know what you've been doing.
So he's been putting up together like a network? Or he's been talking to a network?
Oh, you get
trying to find a network.
Yeah, you get the impression he's trying to find a network.
Sorry, I'm just making notes and I can't keep up.
You're all good. He looks at you all and goes, when I was in Valaki, I'd narrowed down potential meeting points of where I could meet this society, and I feel like I was getting close, until the Watcher boys decided it would be fun to poke around in my caravan. I had to flee, and I've been here ever since.
Where are these potential meeting places?
The inn, the Blue Water Inn, was the main one. It's one of the reasons that I was masquerading there and living there. I was trying to notice if there were any common customers that would maybe use the back room to speak to people, or would hire out the big communal room at the back. And in all honesty, I didn't get much until the
Just us.
first group, and he turns to Saya at that point. A large group of characters claiming to be protecting someone, running away from things that had happened in the village of Barovia. You weren't exactly subtle. And then tragedy happened, from the looks of it, multiple times, as he looks over the new configuration of the group. So, my theory that you were potentially a part of the circle went up in smoke.
Saya is just gonna make the movement to like go after him, and my god, Sandra better stop her.
What do you... Okay, yeah, no, if Saya's gonna, like, lunge for him, like, Mans is a fucking monster hunter. She'll get swatted like a fly. He
Saya.
kind of just, like...
Oh, this is brilliant. Okay, so I'm gonna need Sonda and Saya to roll a dexterity check for me, please. Who's going first?
I'll go first, I guess.
No,
Okay.
no, as in, like, both of you are rolling. This is to see who goes first. So is Sonda quick enough to stop Saya?
Oof. No.
No. Okay. Saya. You lunge at the man. What are you doing? You get up and go to lunge.
Yeah, but she knows that she'll go, like, she's not actually aiming to, like, hit him. She knows she'll go through his body.
Okay, so Sonda, you reach out, but you don't grab her in time. As Saya, you walk through him and come out the other side. Everyone else, can you please roll an insight check for me? Okay. Amira and Jack. While to Aurora, Van Richten appears to have this cool, collected, calm demeanor, you two both watch as when Saya stands up and essentially makes this lunge for him, he doesn't do anything big, but you see his hand tighten around his cane. So while he physically doesn't do anything, he doesn't stop Saya, he doesn't put anything in her way, just because he didn't have time to, you do see both hands tighten around the cane that he's holding. So Saya, you walk through him. Is there anything else you're doing? Or do you just make a show of passing through him?
Just a show. Like, what he said, like, obviously kind of triggered her, so, but she kind of realized, yeah, Monster Hunter, probably not someone to really get on the bad side of, so she kind of, like, stops herself and hence going through him.
He's there for a moment, just kind of unmoving. And then you all see him, like, pout out his lower lip and just go, Not entirely unscathed, are we?
You cut out pretty bad. What was that?
Didn't come out entirely unscathed, did we?
Did not come out entirely unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she turns and goes, no, because I had to watch everyone die, and I don't know why I was the one that woke up when the others didn't.
Saya, sit down.
No.
And then she'll look at a mirror and goes, you shut up!
I'm
Okay.
telling you to sit down because you have just done something and don't understand that you may have just given him something else. What does your staff do when you tighten both your hands around it? Because you did that as she walked through you. So clearly something happened and somebody didn't think about the consequences of their actions. So sit down.
Van Richten at that point would just, like, kind of
She's
hold a hand up. Like, he say you can do whatever you like to that reaction, but he just puts his hands up in kind of like a surrender position, keeping the walking stick in the crease of his thumb on, like, his left hand.
You didn't do anything.
You couldn't have.
Right now, no magic works here. So unless it was a physical thing, which she was phasing, can't touch her whenever you're doing that.
As far as we know, there could be loopholes.
There isn't. I've tested it before.
What about with the cane, stupid girl?
No.
We also all need to keep our own heads.
The girl is allowed to feel her emotions. She has been through an ordeal that very few come back from. Trust me, I'm one of the few that can empathize. I apologize if I struck a nerve. And I apologize if what I said upset you. That wasn't my intention. I'm an old man, and my people skills are not as they could be.
It's okay. It's just still kind of a hard topic to think about once in a while. I've done better, but obviously not good enough.
And Amira, and he says your name with more of a question mark to make sure like he's getting it right.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, and he pushes up the handle of his walking stick, and you can see that it's actually like a concealed blade. So he has a sword inside of his stick.
Yeah, which, to be honest, not a far stretch of the imagination, but it's also the thing of just like, there is danger there.
I didn't know what your friend was going to do,
You
so I
didn't
was
think-
preparing.
Asaya will go back to Saunder's side.
He'll kind of just give her a little bit of a, like, scolding, like, click of his, like, I don't know if you can pick it up on my mic, but it's when you click the, like, your tongue to the top of your mouth.
It's like a tut or a tisk.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And he'll just kind of, like, put an arm around her and kind of just, like, I understand that you are angry, but it's best to not make enemies right now. We can sort through those emotions with words, not actions.
Sorry.
Oh no.
It's okay. Just for future efforts.
If anything, my good man, and Van Richten at that point actually reaches up and takes off the glasses and folds the arms, puts it in like a top pocket of his shirt, and he now is a lot more open, like now that you can actually see his eyes and see all of his facial expressions. This display has actually helped you, in the sense that I am much more willing to trust you. You've all been through a lot, at the hands of Strahd and of other people.
He definitely kind of tilts his head at that. Gotcha. Okay. He definitely tilts his head. And just nods. He doesn't quite understand how that would make him trust us more, but he's not looking a gift horse in the mouth.
So, I will answer whatever questions I can, but bearing in mind that I may leave out pertinent information, because from the sounds of it, you have a follower, and she can hear everything you say.
Have any tips for, what's they're called? Who is the person we wanted to go to see about this hag?
Bubble Saga?
Bubble Saga. Anything like that in your wheelhouse?
I've heard stories of Babla Saga. I've not met her in person. From the sounds of it, she is this place's version of the boogeyman. You, a real person that is so wrapped up in myth that who knows what is true and what is not. I can tell you, though, that Babla Saga is not a hag. Or if the very least if she is, she's not part of a coven. She is her own entity, her own agent.
The tale says she's been here before Strahd was.
And if those tales are true, then she's not human. Or if she is,
But you're saying
she's
she's
gotten
not
hope.
a hag.
There were elves here before Strahd. She could just be an old woman. In fact, from what I remember, some of the elves that live with the Vistani were born before Strahd made it here. They have first-hand knowledge.
I believe that elves can. I mean, I haven't personally met any, but I know that from my mother, and she used to tell me that they can live to be centuries old.
Sonder will nod along with that. That is definitely a possibility. Most legends are born of some type of truth. And especially if she's lived this long, and she's not a hag. I mean, she could have access to specific kinds of magic, but elf is definitely a good possibility.
Fair enough. I'm just glad we know we're not going up against a hag. But,
And you have no idea how much happier that makes me. And also to realize childhood nightmares, not a thing anymore.
Sandra just gives Amir's shoulder like a gentle squeeze, with a little bit of a smile.
if you want as well, Blackie is no longer under the Watcher's control. It's back under the Burgomaster. So things should be a bit safer now. There. If you don't want to hold up in this tower here.
That is good to know. At the very least, it means that I can continue my investigation. And from the sounds of it, you want me to be doing that.
Yes, I'd like... We need people. Because quite honestly, we need like a small army. If we're going to be doing this and doing this right. We know Strahd has people. After we take care of what's going on with Amira, I do want to take one last walk with the druids if we can. Because I know Sonder. We want to get that information first, that's right. Sonder knows some old person. Or at least a name of him.
He'll kind of just like chuckle and like shyly duck his head down, like not really expecting to be brought up like that. And he'll just kind of nod. When we went to Yester Hill, and we were walking up and through the graves, something spoke to me. And I was led to a grave, and the person who was speaking to me called themselves Kavan, chieftain of the mountain. wanted me to take their spear. And I've been trying to learn more about him ever since. We didn't get much time to talk, unfortunately.
Van Richten again takes his beard between his fingers, gives it a bit of a twizzle. Yes. Well, it is not a name that I have come across while doing my studies, but there is somewhere that you might be able to find at least part of an answer. Has anyone told you about the castle of Argynvostholt?
His eyes kind of light up. Yes, actually, when we went to the Abbey earlier today, I was also pointed in that direction.
Well, it's the, other than Ravenloft, it is the oldest standing structure in Barovia. It is the place that, if it's going to have any kind of history, it's potentially going to be there. But I would warn you, that place is essentially a burial ground. So, go there prepared.
Sonder kind of gets a little bit more of a serious face, where his eyebrows are kind of scrunched together a little bit, and he nods. If it's a burial ground, as you say, would it be, I guess, a shot in the dark to say that it's being guarded by said bodies in burial ground? Just kind of gives a little bit of a questioning shrug,
He smiles. And the best way I can describe it is when you were in school and you would give an answer that was right on the button of what the teacher wanted you to get, so they give this big smile because you got it.
Mm-hmm.
That is what he's giving you right now.
Got you, okay.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You may have not encountered them on the road yet, but Barovia is full of the walking dead. Some smarter than others. Some might even be able to hold a conversation with you. But now that is the debate.
Sonder definitely nods. In understanding, and his face kind of falls a little bit. Well, maybe once we get everything else sorted out, we can possibly make a trip up there, or down there, technically. We do have a little bit of holy magic on our side. So that definitely helps, but I've not been one to battle corpses before this, so I'm not exactly sure what else is best to go against them. And he kind of wiggles to get his tome out of his backpack, and he lets go of Say's shoulder and starts flipping through the pages, I'm pretty sure I don't have anything for that, but I'm definitely gonna check.
He will chuckle at that. Well, if you're willing to sit with me before you go to bed, I am more than happy to go through your tome with you.
He definitely will stop frantically turning the pages, and kind of just like look up with a small smile and a nod. That would be most appreciated, actually. The more knowledge we have on, well, anything about Barovia is better than nothing.
Well, I will essentially leave my services up to all of you. If you're planning on staying the night and simply just wish to bed down, I would not begrudge you. But if you wanted to, I guess, pick my brain, is that the saying? And that's the first time this entire conversation that you've seen him, I guess the best word is struggle. As he's genuinely not sure if that is the turn of phrase. Yes. You can ask me anything you wish. For your question, Jack, of what to do about your nocturnal visitor, your best bet is to meet her.
Fair enough.
Force her to look you in the eye. Because if you don't, she's just going to stay where she is, because you cannot touch her. Not unless you're there.
We have an idea of what plane she was on. I know I myself can get to that plane, but I can't really take anyone else with me.
Then I would prepare yourself the best that you can for a head-to-head meeting.
Right. Two more questions for you.
Of course.
Your hat.
Mm.
Don't need it right now. But eventually, would I be able to borrow it?
Depending on when and how long for.
Not very long, I don't think. It's primarily whenever we're trying to storm Strahd's castle. Because we do still have a main objective, which is protecting Irina.
Yeah, we have to crash a wedding.
For the first time all evening, Van Richten looks concerned. As he just looks between all of you, back and forth for a little bit, almost like gauging all of your reactions, and then when they don't change, he takes his glasses back out of that shirt pocket and just kind of rubs the bridge of his nose. Alright. When the day comes that you are planning on walking through the front door, I will be in Vallaki, more than likely, and you can find me there.
Appreciate it. Second one. Since we were given permission to be able to pick your brain, happened between you and Ezmerelda?
You seem pause. And he looks to Ezmerelda. She doesn't say anything. Doesn't pipe up and say that she doesn't want him to talk. He looks to her and kind of gives a non-committal shrug. Well, her family kidnapped, tortured, and murdered my son. She felt incredibly guilty for the acts that her parents committed, so she came running to me asking for as a repayment for me to take her on as almost a apprentice, which I did, despite what had happened. And then one day she left of her own accord. It was her own choice. And that's when Ezmerelda pipes up. She goes, I left because no matter what I did, no matter how I did it, you wouldn't stop. You kept treating me like everything I would do was at some point going to stab you in the back. There is only so much guilt tripping that one person can take. So I left. And I've been successful and fine on my own. And to that, he just kind of shrugs in a dismissive way. And using his glasses to gesture, he points down at her mechanical leg. He goes, oh no, yeah, I can see that. But he kind of looks to you, Jack, like not saying anything else, but basically being like, does that answer your question?
He'll nod. Fair enough. The next question is actually going to go to Amir then. Which are you preferring? I won't be able to do it tonight, but we could try Baba Saga first if you want, or we could try just me fishing them out of the other plane, potentially. As long as it is the same plane.
No harm in trying first. And then if that doesn't work, Babala Saga.
Say alright.
Sonder will kind of pipe up a little bit. I don't mean to interrupt anything, but you said you have to go alone?
Oh, yeah, don't like that.
I can't take another person with me, yes.
Oh, no, screw that, Babala Saga.
Even without her coven mates, that's still incredibly dangerous.
Yeah,
And
no, Baba Saga. Baba Saga.
we learned that she's not a hag, so that definitely puts my mind at ease. That means that we can speak freely and ask for help that way. But not no, you're not doing this by yourself. That's not happening.
I don't mean to face them entirely alone. I just ideally just to get them off that other plane.
And how do you intend to do that?
Pointing at Saunders to say, yes, that exactly.
Scare them, show them that they're not safe on their plane.
Okay, hags aren't stupid. She's probably gonna stay on that plane because there's only one of you. Why would she move off of that plane onto our plane when there's more of us waiting?
And still, a one-on-one fight with a hag will not end well for you. Even if you just try to run and grab her and pop back into our realm, that's not an option.
Fair enough.
Unless we go to that other person. Do you think she could give us something so that we could all go to the ethereal plane?
Don't know one way to find out. Any questions for us? I don't know what name to call you by right now. Kind of want to call you Rotavia, or kind of use your actual name though.
That I will leave completely up to you, my boy. It's a thing of preference, after all.
Master of disguise.
Rudolph, was it? Rudolph Van Richten?
And it is. It's been a long while since I've had someone simply call me Rudolph, but if that is what you wish.
It's your given name.
True, but in the...
Unless you're objectionable to it.
No,
Rudolph?
no objections at all. In the very controlled world of monster hunting, normally it's very formal, last names only kind of thing. It's refreshing.
I try not to use my last name. Just because it can freak people out or make them laugh.
But you're also not a monster hunter.
That's true.
Do all monster hunters only go by their last names?
Ones
Is it like a
that,
code thing?
ones that I've known in the sense that they were a part of a similar business to me.
Interesting.
But different guilds will have different codes, protocols.
Sandra is kind of just like writing some of this down in his book, nodding like, okay, different protocols. Got you.
But, we got a little sidetracked. Someone had a question? No? No questions?
No.
Oh,
I'm gonna hit the hay then.
my mistake. For some reason I had it in my mind that someone wanted a question.
Well, actually, I do have a question now that you say question.
Hmm?
Are we safe in here? Like, I know the whole magic power thing is gone, but what if something ugly does try to come in? Like, will their power be gone, or are we at their mercy? Like, is there a barrier?
Well, the magic is effective to a certain point. It obviously doesn't stop a physical intrusion. If someone wishes to break down the door, they can. But I would hope that we would be awake long before that happened.
Fair enough.
But no, there is also a trap on the front door.
Oh.
So if someone doesn't open it correctly, they are subjected to a nasty attack. So that'll be the next signal that something is going wrong.
I got one more question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the correct way to open that door?
A brilliant and astute question. He gets off of his box and reopens the door. And now that you're having the time to actually look at it properly, there is essentially... It's a diagram with a circle in the middle. And at 8 different equally spaced portions around the circle, there are shapes. And then those shapes are connected by one long interconnected line. He puts his finger on the part of the line that, if you were looking at a clock, is pointing at 12 o'clock. He goes, see, you follow the shapes along the line where they connect using your body. Like so. And he begins to mimic the shapes that are being put on the door. And the best way that I could describe it is he's making movements that are a mixture of, like, flag signals. Like when you're using flags to communicate between ships. And, like, a weird YMCA. But he's essentially doing, like, this interpretive dance in front of the door. And then when he finishes the sequence of movements, he goes, and if you do that in the right order, the trap won't spring and the door will let you in.
Jack has been focusing on this, trying to commit that to memory, so they don't accidentally trip that trap coming back here.
And because you've been sat there focusing on it, you will still have to make an intelligence check to open the door to see if you remember the sequence, but at least now you have a chance.
Fantastic. Yeah. Jack is ready to hit the hay for the night. You know we're gonna have a big day for the next day. Babala Saga.
Mm-hmm. Okay. you all get as comfortable as you can in the lower regions.
I would like to make an objection. I would like to have a conversation with Mr. Rudolph about how to kill a corpse and how to properly slay a vampire lord. Because I need to know these things.
Yeah. So he takes you off to the side, Sonder, so that you don't disturb everyone else as they're like putting out bedrolls and preparing for the night.
Oh, 100%.
He imparts upon you two very crucial bits of information. One, radiant or fire damage is your best friend.
Okay. Got you. Interesting.
As they will be the best for either a killing blow or stopping regeneration, as certain undead have the ability to heal wounds.
Yeah. As he says that, Sonder kind of gets this vaguely haunted look on his face as he kind of just nods once and just under his breath. Yeah, saw that one in action. It's not very fun.
He goes, and then the best way to kill a vampire lord is expose him to sunlight while he is in his coffin. So if you have any spells that can imitate daylight, they will be useful later on. But you will not need them for tomorrow.
He's like scribbling this down kind of like in his notebook. Because he already had a little section on vampires thanks to Erwin. So just like right underneath that, he's writing frantically. I don't think any of us have the daylight spell. But if we have a way to procure components for it, that might be helpful.
Well, depending on the allies that you make, you may be able to find some people. It is a higher level, but if you can find some spellcasters willing to help you.
Well, we can always figure that out. We haven't gone all over Barovia yet. So there's still a lot of people to meet. And maybe we can make some more friends. And gather a little bit more allies.
That's actually a very good question. Tell me, exactly everywhere that you have been.
Sonder kind of pulls out his very crudely drawn, like hand-drawn map that he's been making. Well, we came in through Barovia, the town, and then we went to Valaki, and then we went to Kreshk, and then we went to this over here is a Vistani camp that we visited to help get some help from, oh gosh, what is her name? One of the people there to help with the Mira. Oh yeah, Sonder definitely knows, but he's not saying it out to Rictavio just in case. To help her get some restoration from her nightmares. And then we were thinking about going to the castle or going to Ravala Saga in the south, but we haven't got there yet. We've been to this lake as well, and kind of circles where the lightning struck when Irina and Sonder and Amira were making Queenie's funeral pyre.
Yeah, so you essentially circle like a point in Kresk.
Hmm.
He's like, okay. So, from the looks of it, you haven't been all the way to the west. Well, which is probably a good thing, to be honest. There isn't much past Kresk, but there is a compound of werewolves out there that you need to be aware of.
Sonder does nod, and he brings up the fact that they did meet a couple of fur traders who pointed them in the direction of their hut and did warn them that there were werewolf packs in the area. And he'll kind of just nod like, yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet.
So, Argenvostelt is here. And he, like, taking the bit of charcoal that you've got away from you, he writes. Essentially, he draws another path coming off the road that you were on, like, not that long ago. But instead it heads, like, south and then southeast.
Okay.
And he goes, there is a rise, it takes you back out of the valley, but essentially it'll lead you to like an outcropping. And that is where it is. The village that you are going to be wanting is here. And he draws a path off of the crossroads that it was the first crossroads that you went to after you left Vallaki for the first time.
Where the gallows are?
No, when you left Vallaki for the first time. So it was the ones.
Don't worry about it.
So it was the ones that the signpost had blown down.
Okay.
And you were having to almost fix it in the moment to be there, like, oh, like where are we going next?
Gotcha.
So he draws a path off of there and labels the area with a little thing that says Berez.
How would you spell that?
B-E-R-E-Z. Berez.
Oh, simple. Okay.
He goes, this is the area that Babala Saga has taken for herself.
Ah, thank you. That was where I was going to ask next.
And then down here, and he gestures to technically the only path on that crossroads that you haven't taken yet. This path here leads up into the mountains and into the mountain ranges. There is a mountain pass that essentially leads to the most southern points before you reach the mist. I can't unfortunately tell you what's there, though. I haven't travelled that far. But I can at least tell you it leads you into the mountains.
Sandra gets a little bit of like a wistful smile on his face, and nods. Well, at least we have some idea of where next to look if need be for information. He kind of pauses. I do have a question. Since you've been here for quite a while, Irina and I were talking once about a, in quotations, he says, mad spellcaster. I believe he was up by, and he points to the area, like, above the lake. Over here. Do you know anything about that?
I have heard, rumors about a mage driven mad by fighting Strahd and losing. I've been told that he wanders the shores on the northern edge of the lake, but that is the best I can give you. I haven't seen anything. So it could be true. It could also be false, and I genuinely have no idea.
Well, I will put that in the filing cabinet of possibly, maybe.
And Van Richten does chuckle at that. There is so much about this place that is possibly maybe, but I like the enthusiasm.
He kind of gives, like, a bit of a weak smile. I mean, I've definitely been to places that are more, possibly maybe before, so at least we have a little bit of concreteness about this plane, or wherever we are.
No, very true. Anything else I can do for you, my boy?
Definitely thinks. If somebody is put under a charm, how do you break that?
Depends on the charm. If it's a concentration, like a spell, then doing damage to the person that casts the spell could potentially break it. If it's more the kind that is a little bit more permanent and something to latch onto the soul, then at that point, I don't think even then doing damage to the person, potentially knocking them out and then, or putting them to sleep. Or a spell such as Dispel Magic. To get rid of their magical effects just in general.
I was definitely thinking about that one. What happens if you... I don't know why I'm beating around the bush. And he kind of just scratches the back of his neck awkwardly. When we were trying to get Irina away from Strahd, and we were fighting him, she was charmed. I believe she looked at him. I think that's how that works. And I wasn't sure how to break it, and I didn't get close enough to be able to try. He was gaining on us a bit too fast for that. So I just, in case it happens again to anyone else.
You've said this name, Irina, multiple times now. And I'm assuming it's an obsession of Strahd's if he is going out of his way to take her.
Sandra's face.
What is she to him?
Go ahead. She, his face kind of falls a little bit. I don't know much about how he came to be, obsessed with her, but when we came here, it was to protect her, to get her away from him. And as far as her and her brother know, it kind of just developed. But there was... This might be a little crazy. And he kind of, like, leans forward a little bit and, like, runs a hand through, like, the small patch of, like, facial hair on his chin. When our friend, died, and we were making her a funeral pyre, we were in this point in Kresh, and something came over her. And it was like something deep in her soul was calling out. And in this river, there formed a vision of somebody else. It seemed to be somebody close to her, somebody that loved her. And they were calling out for each other. And that's when a bolt of lightning struck the pond, and Strahd's voice rung out, saying that she was his and his alone. And I know that souls get recycled here in Vallaki, or in Barovia. So I have a theory that it might be somebody that was close to Strahd, and he lost them. And he's been trying to find them ever since. And they might have been reincarnated into Irina. But that's kind of, I don't know how concrete that is. It's, I'm kind of pulling at straws here. As he kind of just like, as he goes on, he gets a little bit more like self-conscious and shy. He's just like, I don't know if this is correct at all, but,
He doesn't say anything at first, which, if anything, Sandra makes you just more anxious. But when you look up, he, again, is doing that thoughtful face where he's essentially pouting out his lower lip and just going, Well, out of all the theories I have heard over the years, it's not a bad one.
Do the names, Sergei and Tatiana ring a bell at all for you?
Not personally, no. That's not, any names I've come across. Although they are relatively common Barovian names.
Sandra will nod. That's, what Irina and, the vision in the lake were calling each other. So I thought it was, a shot in the dark, maybe. But she... And he kind of, like, rubs the friendship bracelet that he made, for him and Irina, like, between his finger and his thumb. She's a lovely friend, and I'm a little terrified to be thinking about what is happening inside that castle right now. But we're going to try to get her back, no matter what happens. She doesn't deserve any of this. She doesn't. And if there's any advice that you have about either hiding somebody or breaking somebody out of prison, that would be really, really lovely.
The best advice I think I can give you for that is you will be walking into somewhere that man has lived for centuries. He is going to know every secret door, every secret walkway. He's going to have set traps where only he knows where the triggers are. You are essentially walking into his domain. So by all means, go in, save your friend. It sounds like she deserves it. But in the same breath, be very prepared for every single room to fuck with you.
Sandra gives kind of like a resolute, very determined nod. Do you know of anybody that's been in the castle before? That might have a layout in mind
And you can see him thinking about that. Actually, there might be. Strahd essentially has I guess the best word to call him is like a butler? Manservant. Man of the house. And you see Van Richten like throwing a couple of words about, not really sure which one fits the best.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes by the name of Rahadin. Now, he very rarely leaves the castle. But when he does, it is usually to some great fanfare. That man will know more than anyone of the secrets of that castle, being that he probably created quite a few of them.
Is he also a vampire, or is he human? What is his lineage?
As far as I am aware, he is elven. Which will owe to his long life.
I see.
But I would not trust him as far as I could throw him. That man is... There is a reason that he has betrayed all of his countrymen and sided with Strahd. Bear that in mind.
Sandra kind of like bites his lip, and his like cogs are kind of turning. So even if we do get information out of him, it might not be true.
Oh, you can essentially trust that it won't be. But then doesn't that give you a speck of the truth in the end?
Sandra will definitely nod. He might use diversion and completely lie to us, but at least it's something to go off of. Anything is better than nothing at this point.
See? And Van Richten smiles, this incredibly wide smile, and does a very awkward, like, shoulder punch. Like, see? You're getting it.
Just gives him a very awkward smile. It's a bit hard to wrap my brain around sometimes, but I think I'm getting the hang of it.
You'll be fine, Sander. From the looks of it, your group are doing fine.
I really, really hope that it stays that way. Especially with everything kind of going on right now, and I am not getting my hopes up for this skirmish we'll eventually have. But if we have more people, if we have more information, if we have a little bit more to go on, it'll help so much. But I'm not going to give up that easy. Hell, even if I die, I'll come back as a ghost and I'll figure it out. I'm not leaving her to that fate. I don't care what it takes.
You see, for the first time, a sad smile go over Van Richten's face as he's taking in what you're saying. But he nods. Slowly at first, but then building more and more in speed. Until eventually he just goes, well, I think to be discovered in the morning, huh? You have a witch to talk to first.
You're correct. I'm sorry for getting a little bit too passionate there. But I will let you go and get some sleep. I'm not sure what you'll do tomorrow, but I wish you the best of luck in whatever endeavors you do have. Thank you for letting us stay.
He puts a hand on your shoulder, Sander, and it's a tighter grip than you were expecting. There's a difference between someone placing a hand on your shoulder and someone giving it almost a death grip. And he forces you to look back at him.
Oh, alright.
Never apologize for the emotions that you are feeling. And you have no need to apologize to me. What you are all about to do tomorrow is incredibly dangerous. But I believe that you can do it. And it's that belief that you need to hold on to. And he keeps his hand on your shoulder until you give some kind of a sign that you understand what he's trying to say.
Sander kind of like, he doesn't flinch. It's nothing like that, but he looks him back in the eyes. And he can see the underlying emotions in it. And he kind of sets his mouth in a firm line and nods.
With the sharp nod and him breaking the eye contact, Van Richten lets go of your shoulder. Lets you bed for the night wherever it is you wish to be.
Where...
See that a mirror is still awake.
Making a fucking beeline for her then. I was gonna ask where her and Saya were set up. So yeah, if she's still awake, he'll kind of...
I believe Saya and Aurora are drawing?
Yeah, I mean, Aurora would have sat down by her just to try to give her more, just give her a chance to vent everything onto paper.
Yeah, Sander will head to Amira and kind of just very quietly sit himself down next to her. How is she looking? What is her facial expressions, her body language?
she's usually good at like hiding how she really feels, but obviously you spend a lot of time around her and you've seen when she's been like shit scared. There is worry and fear because well, Baba Lysaga is not a hag and that's great. It's still I have no idea what the fuck she is now. At least before I kind of almost knew how to deal with her. Now I don't because I don't know what the fuck she is.
Gotcha. Sandra will kind of like put his like tome back in his notebook or in his backpack. And he'll kind of like gently bump her shoulder with his.
Hi.
Copper, for your thoughts?
My thoughts really worth that much?
How about a gold then?
Oh, I meant you'd get spare change back.
He kind of gives her like a little bit of a teasing smile as if to say, I don't believe whatever the fuck that you just said.
If it's the joke of it being like, oh, a penny for your thoughts, oh, you'd get loose change back. Like, my thoughts aren't worth a lot.
Oh, he knows. He's saying, I don't fucking believe that for a second.
Part of me is relieved. And another part of me is now more scared and apprehensive. Baba Lysaga is not a hag. Which is great. But the downside is she isn't a hag. So what is she?
The unknown is always a terrifying aspect. And there's so many things that could go wrong or could go right. But stewing in this anxiety and this fear is not going to make it any better. And I know that's easier said than done. I have been in your exact position more times than I'd like to admit. But going through contingency plan after contingency plan and trying to figure out things with little to no information is just going to make your head spin more. Most that you can do for right now is try to get a good night's rest. And whatever happens tomorrow, happens. But you're with us, and you're not alone, no matter what. And he kind of just like puts an arm like around her shoulders.
Again, relieved that I'm not alone. But worried because I'm not alone. Because, again, I have just been shown that we don't know how to keep ourselves and our emotions under wraps or contained. And the last thing I want to do is step to an all-powerful being, which I have no freaking clue about, and have something like what happened tonight happen again. Because I don't know if I would intervene or if I'd just let it happen.
he definitely kind of has a bit of a confused expression on his face, but he nods. I can understand your worry there. Especially when tensions are high and emotions are even higher. It can be a bit dicey and sometimes even a bit frustrating if somebody speaks out of turn. Especially if we're in a bit of a delicate situation. But if we lay out some ground rules beforehand, make sure that everybody is in the loop, everybody understands the same things, we're all on the same page. It's easier than going in blind and expecting things that other people might not know you expect of them.
I forget that you lot didn't grow up here. But I still would have thought everybody would have known the importance of keeping their mouth shut in certain situations.
Sandra kind of just gives her a little bit of an anxious smile. Well, sometimes emotions boil over, or things aren't as clear as you might think they are for other people. Or maybe it was just a lack of understanding or a lack of communication. But everybody here, for a lack of a better term, is human. They will make mistakes, and sometimes those will be not great. The consequences of them, let's say. And sometimes they play out just fine, like what happened tonight. But I understand where your frustration comes from. And your feelings are valid.
Tonight, had things gone the complete other way, doesn't concern me as much if things go wrong tomorrow. And if you can hear me, please do not take this in a bad way. I'm just merely making an observation, but we would have been fighting a man. I have no idea what Baba Lysaga is. So if anything like what happened tonight happens tomorrow, at least tonight I knew what I was facing. I knew that I could take it. I knew that I could be there and help and protect. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that tomorrow, because I don't know what the fuck I'm up against.
Well, especially in this situation, we have to approach it extremely carefully, with a lot of caution, and we will air out a more solid plan in the morning. But we need to go in with an air and a knowledge that we cannot be hostile. If this being is older than Strahd, we need to go in as benevolently as possible. No cool words, no snarky remarks, just a need for help, for guidance, if anything.
Question real quick. Is this something that can be heard?
Oh yeah, the So to describe how big the
Oh,
tower
I've been
is...
saying this quietly.
I figured it was a private conversation, but...
I'm just making sure that I don't intervene or anything. I want to make sure I can't hear, but I wanted to know how it was.
So, for the sake of realism, because I'm aware that that's something harder to do when you're doing theatre of the mind, this entire space is essentially a 15 by 15 grid with the centre square being taken up with the lift, and then there is a little bit of room elsewhere. So you are to lie down, essentially lying right next to each other. There is not a lot of privacy here.
Is it possible that Saya could be hearing what's going on? Because...
Yeah, make a perception check. Because they are putting in effort to have a private conversation, but that doesn't mean that you can't hear it.
I'm just curious. Well, that's an 18. That comes out as a 23.
I will say then that while you've missed words here and there, because they have been whispering, so sometimes things happen, you don't hear it, but you've been able to follow along with the conversation.
I'm just going to ask, should that technically be a disadvantage because she's already engaging in a conversation with somebody else?
Well, now that then becomes up to player, because Aurora is trying to teach her more about drawing, but how invested in that conversation are you? And be honest.
I mean, after a certain...
Go on.
No, I was going to say, after a certain point, most of... unless, say I was asking about something specific, like shading or something, Aurora would have mostly been encouraging her, like, okay, like, what you're feeling, put that on paper. And everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when it comes to like the drawing thing, usually it's give a pointer or two and then they just draw. So I'm not gonna intervene. I just wanted to make sure if that's something Saya can hear, because it almost sounds like she's being called out. I'm trying not to make things worse.
So I will say that with...
Well, then how much are you concentrating on the drawing?
Yeah.
Because if you're also concentrating on the drawing, listening to the pointers...
Well... I mean... I'd assume... Saya would... Like, she's not invested in the drawing, so I would say that she is... And she's not just listening for whatever you guys are saying. She's listening to everything. She doesn't like this tower. So she's not going to have her mind completely on one thing, you know what I mean? It's nothing against you. I just want to make sure.
In that case then, I think that 23 then becomes a little bit of like a blanket thing, in the sense of you heard the conversation between Sonda and Van Richten, and you heard all of it, because they weren't trying to have a private conversation, they were just openly talking in front of everyone. So actually I think that goes for everyone in the room. If you wanted to listen to that conversation, you could have, because none of it was private. And now, even though you're having a hushed discussion, this is now a relatively quiet space. So while nuance is potentially missed and some words are missed, say as you're drawing, you can hear what Sonda and Amira are talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like
I can't even remember where we left off now.
we need a lot of nuance. We need to make sure that everybody understands the situation that we're going into. Make everything as plain as day. And make a plan, obviously. And we need to go in being on our best behavior. As kind as possible. As small and as pathetic as possible, as not to be perceived as a threat. No hackles raised, no raised voices, no quippy remarks, no snarkiness, just polite. And we take it from there. And if things do go south, we need to run. There's no way to fight somebody as powerful as that on our own. And if we do upset her, we need to get out of there as fast as possible. I know I can probably carry 1 or 2 people as a full-size giant eagle, but I know Aurora has her horse, which can carry her and 1 other person. But I'm not sure about everybody else. But this is why we'll talk about it. Come up with plan A, plan B, and plan F if we need to.
Part of me just wants to go in alone.
Sonder kind of tugs her a bit closer. So, like, she's kind of like... He's, like, side-hugging her, basically. And he, like...
She tucks herself, like, into him.
Yeah. He'll kind of bump his head with hers. And, like, his tail kind of, like, wraps around her ankle. That's not going to happen. You are one of us. And we won't leave you behind. You're not going to do this alone. And if you wanted to, we would figure out a way where that wouldn't happen. We would dissuade you from that. Or follow you a little bit further down. You're not going in this alone, especially if it's this dangerous. We need to stick together. Safety in numbers. And maybe somebody will have an idea that you wouldn't think of that would help steer the conversation somewhere else. Or somebody, say, Jack, has more arcane knowledge. So if something does come up, he can have background knowledge and expand upon that. You're not going in this alone.
Why does working in a group have to be hard?
He kind of chuckles a little bit at that. I thought the same for a little while. I was on my own for a lot more than I was with other people. So that feeling of being self-sufficient and safe, because all you had to do was worry about yourself. And if something goes wrong, well then it's just you that gets hurt. I get that. I really do. But it's hard when people don't see eye to eye on things. Everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own past that they contend with, they grapple with, their issues that claw them apart at night. Things that happened that make them who they are today. And that colors everybody's perception differently. But when it comes down to it, we all care about each other. Even if it's small. Even if it's just an acquaintanceship instead of a friendship. Or if it's just pack bond. We travel together, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's still a relationship. And that's still a level of respect and care that you give to the other person. And sometimes things get dicey. Hell, I mean, Azazel is enough said. He butts heads with just about everybody. But he still stuck his neck out for us. He's still doing that now. Even if he might not care for us.
Azazel may be an asshole, but at least he knows when it's okay to be such a thing.
He's a lot of experience. That's why he knows when to lay on the... What is the best word for this?
Charm doesn't seem right.
No, it's something a little bit more underhanded. I can't think of the word in common, but you know what I mean. When to lay on a little bit more of the roguish charm, and when he can fully pull back and be his sarcastic self. That all comes with experience. With knowing how to read a room, and how to read the body language of whoever's in said room.
That's also important for him, considering he trades in secrets.
Mm-hmm. It's harder when you don't have a lot of experience with that. And it's not going to come naturally. Especially if something is really bothering you. Or if something is making you angry or frightened. Those big emotions take up a lot of space. And it's hard to digest that in the moment, especially when you need to keep a cool head. And that takes a lot of practice.
I'm used to biting my tongues when things become hard or difficult. And because they're like tucked away in like a corner, Amira will lift up the back of her top so he can see all the scars on her back. I'm used to being able to keep my mouth shut. I'm used to biting down on my tongue so hard that I could taste blood. When I say I was made to take the blows, I meant it.
Amira can kind of feel the emotional shift, I guess, is the best way to put it. Where the arm around her kind of tightens a little bit. And he kind of just like maneuvers her so that she's kind of sitting like in his lap. And he kind of curls around her a little bit. His arms bind around her fully as she's sitting kind of like side saddle in his lap. He brings his knees up. And it's very protective, is the best way to put it.
She doesn't move or flinch or anything, but she does. As you shift her and her back is no longer to the corner, she drops the shirt, so it's covering everything.
Hmm. He kind of tucks her head underneath his chin. I need you to listen to me when I say this. You did not deserve any of that. Okay?
They didn't show you it for pity.
I'm not pitying you. Yes, it's tragic. And it makes me very angry. But what happened has happened. And I cannot change the past. I am here to tell you that it was not your fault. None of it was your fault. You are not made for things. People are not made for things. That's not how people work. You are not made to be a punching bag. You are not made to take blows that are meant for others. Yes, you might be good at them because you have practice and experience handling that. But it is not your duty. It is not why your soul was placed on this earth.
I mean, I'm pretty sure my soul is recycled.
He gives her kind of a flat look and like a huff through his nose.
I know what you're saying. I'm aware of my capabilities. I'm aware that if I screw up, there are consequences. And I'm also aware that I can deal with the consequences. I grew up here. I know when I need to bite my tongue. I cannot do that for somebody else.
Unfortunately,
I would like to. I can't.
unfortunately, that is the case. Things will always go wrong. No matter how much you plan for them. Things will happen because nothing is. This world isn't predictable. It's not going to lend a helping hand. And it never will. The most that you can do is focus on yourself. Focus on what you're good at, your own abilities. And then you can focus on what might be helpful to somebody else. And yes, unfortunately, you can't quiet somebody's tongue if they speak out of turn. You cannot stop somebody's blade when you're too far away. And that's a scary prospect to deal with. Especially in a situation that's extremely fragile. But you can't control everything. And at some point, you're going to have to make your peace with that fact. That no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, sometimes it just isn't enough. And you have to learn to be okay with that.
You sound like you have experience.
He kind of curls a little bit tighter around her and like smushes his cheek into the crown of her head. I unfortunately have too much experience in that aspect.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
It's not yours either.
Amira can kind of feel the residual flinch that happens when she says that. It's not like a big one, but his muscles tighten and then retract.
I think she'd hug him.
He just gives her a very big squeeze. Kind of drops his head a little bit. To be a little bit more like even. So instead of like resting his head on her, his head is kind of like, his jaw is pushing into like where her ear is, basically. And he just holds her a bit tighter. You remind me a lot of my sister sometimes.
What was her name?
Her name was Alana. We both had the same fiery attitude and the knack for not listening to authority. He says it kind of like with a wistful, kind of cheeky tone in his voice.
The way to go on like a house on fire?
Probably. Although, she was definitely a little bit more mischievous. had a knack for getting into places that she shouldn't have been in, but I still loved her all the same.
Is it clear in his tone that, like she can pick up that, like, she's no longer with us?
Yeah, he's not really hiding it.
Yeah. I don't have any siblings. I checked. That first night crashed.
Hmm. That's where you wandered off to.
I don't know if Jack told you anything.
Just shake his head no.
I'm originally from Crashed. The abbot saw to my trying to think. It's not banishment, but what's the other one?
Exile?
Expulsion? Exile. Thank you. The abbot saw to my being exiled. On account of talking to Mother Night.
I do remember you mentioning vaguely about that, with Aurora and I at the table.
Yeah. Mother Night, supposedly, when she turned her back on Barovia, is the one who brought Strahd here as a punishment. And so, when you live in Crashed and you're babbling away, as toddlers often do, and your parents say, "Who are you talking to?" and you see Mother Night, they freak out. And they go and talk to the abbot. And he tells them, you need to cull the wicked out of your child, and they do so in not the best way. And when that child has endured 3 years of it and nothing's working, the abbot told them to kick me out and leave me to fend for myself in the woods. And I wandered those woods for a while until I was found. And I was renamed.
As Amira has kind of been talking,
She has like a
more,
an expression on her face.
yeah, the more she kind of talks, she can kind of feel Saunders' hands grip tighter onto her shirt. And he kind of like presses her into his chest a little bit more. And he's, the best word I can describe is he's vaguely trembling. It's not like massive, but she would definitely notice. It's a little bit of a shift. And he... I don't think she knows. Yeah, no. Okay. He'll just mumble something in Druidic.
Yeah, definitely don't know that one.
And it's sharp and cutting. It is not the typical soft-spoken notes that Sandra usually talks in. If anything, it's angry.
I'm okay. I'm here.
He kind of switches mid-sentence back to common and is just, that's utterly barbaric. Have no love for your child. Love them no matter what they look like, no matter who they talk to. That's...
Oh, that's the thing. I'm not actually a redhead.
kind of like pulls away a little bit.
I'm
And, like-
naturally a blonde.
Interesting.
I dyed it when I was told that I may have to go back into crashed.
He kind of like sits up a little bit straighter and like peers at the top of her head.
I don't think it's been long enough for roots to come in, has it?
I mean, less than a week, so probably not.
Eyebrows definitely. They're like her eyebrows are blonde.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Color me surprised.
Yeah, and calling me a redhead.
I think red suits you.
It seems like the easiest one to go for because of the eyebrows. You can get away with a redhead having blonde eyebrows, but you can't really get away with a brunette.
I've never used dye
Henna.
myself. Henna?
Henna.
It's called. I've never used that myself. So I don't know how safe it is to put around your eyes.
It's natural, it's just that if you get it on your skin, you're gonna stain that as well. Which is why we didn't do the eyebrows.
Oh.
Because then it
Interesting.
would have been too obvious that I dyed it.
Well, no matter what you look like, no matter what your name is, no matter who you are or who you will become, you are always welcome in my arms. And I will always take care of you.
She would hug him just like a little bit tighter. Thank you.
Of course. It's the least that I can do.
Is this what having a sibling's like?
Sometimes.
I've liked it.
Sometimes you can butt heads. And sometimes they can be a little frustrating. And loud. Very loud. but they love you. And you love them. And it's unconditional. No matter what, even if they end up breaking your favorite mug, they didn't do it on purpose. And the mug
They
can be
broke your mug?
salvaged. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a spectacle that happened when Emery first wild shaped. He got a little scared and broke my mug. He felt absolutely terrible about it.
You had a brother and a sister?
He kind of smiles at her. He'll kind of shimmy and take a chain from around his neck and pull it upwards. And when he pulls it up, it's I want to say a decently sized locket. It's very plain, but it's silver. And she can tell it's handmade. And he just pops it open and shows her the inside. And there are 2 children that you can definitely tell the family resemblance. It's the same skin, the same nose and eye shape. Saunder's the only one with vitiligo, but the other 2 have the same textured, curly black hair. But instead of Saunder's eyes that are swirly and kind of ever-changing in their color, their eyes are a beautiful forest green. She can tell they're twins as well.
They look like you.
Well, they were my siblings, so I would hope so.
They look happy.
The corner of his lips kind of like twitches a little bit. They were very happy. Brought a lot of joy to our grove in general. They weren't the only children that I took care of. There was a little bit of a small group, so they were always a little bit of the troublemakers. I always had to be the one to rein them in and make them apologize if they accidentally broke something or lost something.
Handfuls.
Yes, most definitely.
Well, I promise I won't break any of your mugs.
Even if you did break any of my mugs, I would still love you. He kind of like tucks the necklace, like he closes the locket, tucks it back in, and kind of like presses like a kiss to her temple. You're my
Can you
family.
definitely tell, like, when he said, like, I'll still love you, that she was a bit, like, taken aback?
He just gives her a smile and a tight hug.
Can I rest my head on you when I sleep?
Of course. I'm not, very plush. I'm actually quite thin, so I'm not sure how comfortable I'll be, but you can sleep however you want.
Just more the comfort of knowing you're there.
He gives her a soft smile. Well, make yourself comfortable. And let's try to get some sleep.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm not sure what you're thanking me for, but you're welcome.
Good night.
Good night, Mila. I'll see you in the morning. He'll kind of just like pull his cloak up, kind of like a blanket around the both of them, and kind of rest his head like back against the wall.
I think she's just lying with like either her head on your stomach or on your lap.
Either or.
Yep.
You could literally lay fully on top of him and he would not care.
She wouldn't do that. She has got muscle. Girl is heavy.
He'll just kind of like he'll kind of like scratch the base of her scalp and like run his hands through his hair as she's falling asleep. He's definitely waiting until she falls asleep first before he tries to.
If you're messing with like her hair, she falls asleep like almost instantly.
Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's kind of just like running his hands through her hair, humming just the very same lullaby that he always hums when she's having a bit of a hard time until she falls asleep. Once she is actually asleep, he'll just press a kiss to her forehead and just mumble, "Have sweet dreams" in Druidic. For like pulling the cloak, like and tucking it underneath her chin, making sure that she's all cozy.
Okay. As that conversation is happening, well, so is there any other conversations that people wish to have?
Not so much a conversation, but at some point, like once if Saya gets engrossed enough in her drawing or decides that she's going to trance or something, Aurora does want to go find Van Richten and I'm glad you're all right, my friend. Just part of her good night. Just she missed him. She's glad he's okay.
He looks you over for a second before saying, and I'm glad to see that, at the very least, some of the wounds have healed.
Still healing below the surface, but I can smile again.
always a worthwhile cause.
Always.
And he will do the exact same thing he did as Rictavio, which is the thing that makes you clock that, oh, it is the same person. That he reaches out and just takes your hand in his and does a slow motion of like stroking the thumb across the knuckle in like a comforting way.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was any doubt, it's now gone. As he proves to you that it is the same person.
She'll smile at the action, like the familiarity. I already said it, but I'm, again, truly, truly glad that you're safe. I was worried.
Oh, worried about me? You're wasting time. Shouldn't be worried about these old bones.
Well, any person who can make me smile or shows kindness here is worth showing concern for. True kindness, not the kindness of a madman.
You will. You'll smile at that. It's definitely a crooked smile. There's a jadedness to it. But he accepts it nonetheless.
She'd like give his hand like a friendly squeeze and like go back to her bedroll, go to bed and everything.
Mm-hmm. Anything else from anyone else? Okay. You all try to get as comfy as you can. Admittedly, very hard to do where you are, all scrunched up in the bottom of this tower. At some point during the night, Van Richten wishes you all a good night. Makes a pointed thing to say, yes, even you. Looking at Ezmerelda. Kind of huffs at that and just blows air in his direction. And he says something to the nearest golem that you don't pick up on, you don't hear exactly what he says, but whatever he did sends, I guess the best way of putting it is that it activates the golems so that he is then taken up. Well, if there is nothing else that anyone wishes to do today, then I think we'll call the session there, with next week being you all travelling and heading to the halls of Baba Lysaga. An emotional episode, a little bit of background, a little bit of fleshing out of this world. Thank you everyone so much for watching. We are here every Friday night, 7 PM EST, or you can watch the VOD on YouTube. Channel is the same name, 20 Sides Failure. Thank you so much to my players. And all I have left to say is good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.